Skoda have got a Fabia, and you might know that because they've had it for quite a few years. In fact, this model is getting towards the end of its life. So this model is called the Monte Carlo. Not sure whether they're trying to get that rich people can afford it. It's got F1 heritage, or they would be great in a rally. But they've named it Monte Carlo anyway, so let's go and have a look at this car in more detail. And to be honest with you, it's lashing rain, so I just want to get inside. Before I do that though, I do need to tell you about the boot, which in this car is not the biggest. It's not the smallest. You've got enough room to go away for a weekend with a bag or two. You've got Skoda's famous shopping bag hooks in the back. The seats do fold down. There's a rear parcel shelf, and yeah, you're not going to be fitting 4 St. Bernards in there, but it'll do the job. Now, while the Skoda Fabia starts at €16,200, which is pretty decent to get this Monte Carlo version of the car with a 6-speed manual gearbox and some of the extras which I'll tell you about, it's heading north of €21,000. Still a lot of car though for the money. Now, this being the sportier model, they've done things like give you a black headlining interior. They've given you rear parking sensors with acoustic signalling. There's even proper chrome sports pedals. When they leave them out of cars that are meant to have a hint of sport in them, that wrecks my head. You get 16-inch Italia black alloy wheels with black safety wheel bolts. They look cool. Black design mirrors, which are handy. A black roof spoiler, which is painted the same colour as the roof of the car. And there's the Monte Carlo Sport 3-spoke multifunction steering wheel, which is something that you'd get in a Skoda VRS. So it's nice to get that wheel. It's the exact same. Now, there's lots of things in this car that by today's standards, you'd look at them and go, there's manual air conditioning, there's a handbrake, an actual handbrake. You've got to use a key to start it. But you know what? I kind of love the car for those characteristics. It's like just when cars were cars. Yeah, of course there's some creature comforts. You get touchscreen, which you can operate and obviously use manual controls. You get a multi-function display. It's not in colour, it's kind of plain black and white. It's fine, does the job. There's kind of a carbon fibre effect going on here. Yes, it looks a bit cheap, but what are you going to expect for the price? All the plastics are hard. Everything is hard. Rock hard. Now, of course, not all bad. They do give you USB ports up the front and a 12-volt charger as well. There's standard air conditioning. Little simply clever Skoda trick me bobs. There's a proper cigarette charger in it. You know, you open your sun visors and, oh, there's no light. But you do get things like the famous Skoda clip in the windscreen, which is very handy for holding car park tickets and just, where did I put that ticket thing? Oh. And if you have a Skoda in the past and you've only just realised that's what that's for, leave me a comment to let me know, because every day's a school day. Now back here, it's not bad at all. They've included 2 USB charging points in the back of the car, more than they have up the front. There's a little bit of a storage area for something very, very small. When you get this panoramic glass roof, it actually feels a lot bigger than the car is on the inside. Now, something else that you might be surprised to hear, there's windy up windows. Now, my seat is fairly far back and there's still a reasonable amount of room. I don't think you're going to get a 6'5" person in the back of this car with the driver's seat all the way back, but it's reasonable. They've also included their famous seat pocket holder thingy bobs, which are good just for, you know, storage. And they look a bit like kind of ladies' tights if you get very close to them. There is plenty of head space though, so you can look up at the rain and go, isn't Ireland lovely? So warm and sunny. Now, this version that I'm testing today is a 1-litre TSI engine. It's a 6-speed manual and it has 110 brake horsepower. There is a 7-speed DSG option that you can go for too. Now, going for that DSG gearbox will push the price up by about €1,600. It's a lot of money in a relatively cheap car, so I don't know if I'd be going there. To be honest with you, you'll have just as much fun manually driving this car. And obviously in times gone by, the RS or VRS, depending on which part of the world you're watching this video in, the Fabia did come in the RS trim. You can't get it in this version for some reason. I don't know if Skoda have just decided to protect the more expensive models with the RS VRS brand and just keep it away from the cheaper stuff. I'm not sure why you can't anymore. Maybe there just wasn't enough sales of it. It's hard to know. Even if you're driving it hard, you're going to get 8 to 9 litres per 100 kilometers, and I nearly got into the 5 litres per 100 kilometres on a motorway longer journey yesterday. So you'll actually get a little bit of torque steer at times, and opening her up a little bit, you just kind of forget. You forget that 3-cylinder vibe off the car. That's kind of gone. Drop it a gear, and she pulls nicely. There's been a couple of times in spirited driving where I've been going from 2nd gear to 3rd, and sometimes I've gone to 5th by mistake. So the gearbox could be a little bit more precise. Again though, you know, I can't be too hard in this car. Like I said, not the Monte Carlo version, but the Fabia itself starts from just over €16,000, and there's very few new cars you can get in Ireland for that price, and when you can, they feel like that price. This one, when you kind of grab onto the steering wheel and you sit into these more comfortable seats, it doesn't feel cheap. Brakes are good, as I'm about to demonstrate to you right now. You do have to stamp on them a little bit, but they're there when you need them. And also this car gets discs all round, so some manufacturers at this price point put drums on, cheapen the whole thing. Not really a fan. This is discs all round. And the gears are fairly long, so 1st, 2nd gear, you can see about 100 kilometers an hour at a 2nd gear. It's got a 0 to 60 time of 9 seconds. You know, it is a light car. Now, on a windy day, on something like the M50, you kind of have to hold on to the steering wheel for dear life, because it'll start to move around if there's any crosswinds. So look, you might be able to afford a holiday to Monte Carlo. To be honest with you, who can? But you certainly can afford the Skoda Fabia Monte Carlo. And for sheer thrills, maybe you're trading down in a car size, maybe you need a first car. This is going to have kind of a sportier, cool feel, and your insurance company won't hang up on you when you ring and get a quote, because it's only 1 litre. The best way you can support this channel of mine is by hitting the subscribe button, liking it and commenting on the video if you've got a question for it, and telling your mates about these videos if you see them. If you do that much for me, I'll be a very, very happy man. See you on the next episode.